What if the Vikings left behind more than just ruins, sagas, and dragon-headed ships? What if their greatest secrets weren't buried in hoards of silver, but encoded in their bones, hidden for over 1,000 years? Join us as we dive into the mysteries of our Viking ancestors and uncover the secrets they truly left behind. For centuries, the Viking Age has captivated the imagination. From the late 8th to the early 11th century, they exploded out of Scandinavia like a thunderclap, raiding, trading, exploring, and settling from Newfoundland to the Caspian Sea. To some, they were brutal marauders. To others, fearless navigators and craftsmen. But one thing most people believed, that the Vikings were a homogeneous race, blonde, blue-eyed, and unmistakably Scandinavian. But what if I told you that image is wrong? Modern science is challenging centuries of myth-making, and it started not with a ship or a sword, but with a tooth. In the early 2010s, researchers began extracting DNA from hundreds of Viking-era skeletons. They used teeth and petrous bones, the hardest bones in the human body, as these offered the best preserved genetic material to extract the DNA. Over time, the ancient genomes began to speak. They studied remains from over 80 archaeological sites, 442 individuals from across the Viking world, from Norway and Sweden to Greenland, England, and Russia. What they found was nothing short of revolutionary. The Vikings weren't all Scandinavian. That's right. Despite the stereotype, many individuals identified archaeologically as Vikings carried genes from Southern Europe, the Middle East, and Central Asia. Some had no Scandinavian ancestry at all. This means that some men buried with broadswords and shields in Norway genetically resembled modern Greeks. Women buried in Viking ship graves had roots that traced back to the Eurasian steppes, a vast area of grassland in Eurasia, spanning from Eastern Europe to Mongolia and parts of China. Children who were laid to rest under stone cairns had ancestors who once roamed Persia or the Caucasus, a region that includes parts of Armenia, Azerbaijan, Georgia, and southern Russia. The result rewrites the script of what we know about the Vikings. You see, the Viking Age wasn't just about conquest, it was about connection. Their trade networks stretched from the North Atlantic to the Silk Road. They founded cities like Dublin. They served as elite guards for Byzantine emperors. They married, settled, and adopted local customs wherever they went. And here's the twist. Being a Viking wasn't about where you were from. It was about how you lived. It was about the culture of living as a Viking. Being Viking was a lifestyle, not a bloodline. There are cases from Orkney, now part of Scotland, where burials include Viking-style swords, jewellery, even longships. Yet the DNA tells a different story. These were locals, not Scandinavians. They had adopted Viking identity, much like one might adopt a religion or a political affiliation. It's not unlike how someone today might become part of a subculture, a punk, a goth, a gamer, not by birth but by choice and association. And this isn't just a footnote in the history books. It changes everything we thought we knew about identity in the past. It shows that the idea of pure ancestry is, frankly, a myth. Even the classic Viking look, tall, muscular, blonde, is more Hollywood than historical. Genetic analysis shows blonde hair was actually less common among Vikings than in modern Scandinavia today. Many had dark hair and eyes. Some even had genetic markers associated with Asian ancestry. In other words, the Viking Age was a melting pot, just like our modern world. But there's more. Among the most curious artifacts the Vikings left behind are their runestones. Hundreds dot the landscapes of Sweden, Denmark, and Norway, etched with angular letters, strange spells, and dedications to the dead. Some are memorials, others cryptic messages that hint at deeper mysteries. Take the rock stone in Sweden, for example. It dates to around 800 AD and contains the longest known runic inscription of over 700 characters. For centuries, scholars have debated its meaning. Is it a heroic poem, a mythological riddle, a warning? Recent interpretations suggest it may be a coded reflection on climate catastrophe, a response to a volcanic winter that devastated crops and darkened the skies in the 6th century. If true, the Vikings may have preserved ancient ecological memory in stone. And then there's the Oseberg ship burial, discovered in 1904 by archaeologist Gabriel Gustafsson and Håkon Shetterlig in a Norwegian farm field. Inside lay 2 women, buried with textiles, carts, and exotic items from across Europe and Asia. One of the women, based on recent isotopic and genetic analysis, may have originated far from Norway, perhaps the Black Sea region. Who was she? A priestess? A queen? A merchant? Her grave raises more questions than answers. This isn't just the stuff of sagas and speculation, it's evidence of a globalized world, centuries before the term existed. And yet the myths persist. The Vikings have long been co-opted by modern ideologies, romanticized by nationalists, distorted by pop culture, but the truth is far richer and more human. They weren't supermen, they were survivors, traders, poets, farmers, refugees. So we can clearly see that the diversity of Viking DNA reflects the diversity of their experience. And through these ancient bones, we see something profound, the interconnectedness of the human story. Our past is not neat, it's not pure, it's not tribal. It's tangled, shared, and complex. We are all, in a sense, descendants of many worlds. As evolutionary geneticist Esker Willerslev, who led the groundbreaking Viking DNA study, put it, we have this image of well-connected Vikings mixing with others across vast distances. That's what the genetics shows, and it's far more interesting than the myths. So what secrets did Viking ancestors really leave behind? They left behind the truth of who they were, not just in swords and sagas, but in their blood. A truth that defies borders and time. That speaks not just of raids and riches, but of movement, mingling, and memory. In the end, perhaps the greatest legacy of the Vikings is not what they took, but what they gave us. A window into our shared, messy, beautiful human story. And now we want to hear from you. What did you find most surprising about this journey into Viking ancestry? Have your ideas about them changed? Have you had a DNA test? And does your ancestry show a diverse lineage of different geographies and cultures? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and if there's another historical mystery you'd like us to unravel, let us know, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more history documentaries and mysteries. Until next time, remember, history hides its deepest truths in the places we least expect. Thanks for watching Obscura Historia.